Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelly Head. I am the Business Information Librarian on the Square One team. I am coming back with another episode of how to use our databases to help your business. Today we are going to be looking at a database called ReferenceUSA, and we're going to be looking at ways you can build leads lists using this database. And just to kind of clarify what a leads list is, it's something that you would use to reach out to potential clients. So you may have a list of phone numbers that you pull from this database that you use to make some sales calls. You may take the list of addresses from this database and go drop by some of these places to introduce yourself. These databases can also be used for doing direct mail advertising or email advertising. So we're going to be looking at 4 different ways you can use this specific database, ReferenceUSA, to reach out to your target customer, whether that is another business or a consumer. So to get started, we are going to go to our homepage, which is mymcpl.org. And from the homepage, you can get to all of our business databases by clicking on Square One Small Business up at the top of the page. And then you're going to scroll down about 3/4 of the way down the page and click on this Resources button over on the right. So what we're seeing now is the full list of our business databases. If you'd like to see all of the databases that the library subscribes to, you can click A to Z list up here at the top, or you can click Browse Subjects, and that will organize all the databases by subject. So the database we're going to use today, as I mentioned, is called ReferenceUSA. So you're going to click on ReferenceUSA, the black highlighted underlined text, and then you're going to put in your library card number. And when you're in ReferenceUSA, there are 2 different databases, or 2 different kind of sections within the database that you would use typically. The first one is US businesses, and then the second one is US consumers/lifestyles. There are other ones. The other ones may be useful, but those are the 2 that tend to get used the most. We're going to go into US businesses first, and I'm going to show you to build a targeted list of companies that you might want to reach out to for business-to-business marketing. Whenever I go into this database, I automatically go to advanced search because I can see all of the options for searching this way. You can also just do a quick search if you know the name of the company you're looking for, but typically you're going to want to go into advanced search. And just to kind of give you an overview of what you're seeing here, on the left-hand side, you have all of the different selectors, so you can choose company name and search for a specific keyword in the company's name, or if you know the exact name of the company, you can search there. If you have a specific, let's say, title of an executive that you're looking for, you can search by that. You can search by business type or major industry group, and we'll be going through to show you an example of how to use all these, but just to give you a quick overview of what you have here, I'll kind of go down this list on the left. So geography is a really important one that you're going to be using almost every time, unless you're doing a nationwide search, which is the default. So lots of different options for selecting geography there, including zip code, a radius from a central location. You can even do a map-based search where you draw a boundary line for your targeted area. So you can get really specific there. Sometimes you'll want to search by business phone number. I haven't really had any cases where anybody needed to search by fax number, but I guess that's an availability. The business size is another one that a lot of people search by, so you can search by the number of employees or the number of annual sales. Ownership is another one a lot of folks use, so choosing between public or private companies or businesses that are only at a single location for the headquarter branch option there. Financial data is another one that people use quite a bit, so credit rating is important sometimes. business expenditures is really interesting because it will show you what the estimated expenses in different categories are for businesses that you might want to reach out to. So for instance, let's say you have an advertising company, you can pull up businesses that spend over a certain amount of money on advertising in a given year and reach out to those folks. The special selects allow you to get a little bit more specific in your search. So if you wanted to search for companies that have a web address or a social media site link, you can choose those. Sometimes knowing how long the business has been around is a good one, so year established. And then you also have exclusions down at the bottom. So if you know that there's a particular type of business that you don't want to include in your search results, you can use these omit exclusions, and they will make sure that those are excluded from your search results. So a lot of this is abstract until you actually see a example of how somebody might use it. So I'm going to walk you through 3 different examples of how somebody might use the U.S. Businesses database to reach out to their targeted customer. From the beginning, I should mention that this record type is an important box to pay attention to, because you'll notice that it's defaulted to have verified businesses that have been phone verified and quality checked as the default checkbox. A lot of times you're going to want to check the box underneath that includes the unverified businesses. This box just means that this company, ReferenceUSA or Info Group, which is the parent company, hasn't been able to get that particular business on the phone to verify their information, which means that they've pulled their information either from their website, their social media site links, state filings, phone books. So the information isn't bad, it's just not phone verified. So if you're looking for potential customers, you may want to have this include unverified businesses box checked, because that will increase the number of businesses you see substantially. So if I uncheck that, this number goes from 57 million to 15 million. So you can see that it will definitely bump up the number of businesses, even if we just did the default search. So the first search we're going to do is for a, let's say you have a business that is doing point of sale systems for smaller businesses, typically restaurants, and you want to target all of the restaurants in the KC metro area. So we're going to go to geography first, which is usually a good place to start, and we're going to check metro area, and then we're going to go down to Missouri and choose Kansas City, Missouri. And then next we're going to go to keyword SIC/NAICS. This is where you specify the type of business that you're looking for. You can search by NAICS code or SIC code if you know what that is, or you can just search by keyword, which is usually the more easy way to search. So I'll do a search for restaurants, and then I can choose as many different types of businesses down here as I want. I'm just going to choose restaurants for now. And then I'm going to go down and choose under the ownership only public or only privately owned companies, because I'm guessing the publicly owned companies that would be like fast food chains and that sort of thing, they're already going to have their own point of sale system, so they probably aren't going to be my target customer. Whereas these privately owned places may not have one that they're locked into a contract in or anything, so they may be able to purchase from me in a way that the publicly owned companies couldn't. I'm also going to choose under headquarter branch the single location, because this would also help me find my target customers. Sometimes even if a business isn't publicly owned, it can be a chain that's privately owned, and they could have the same sort of contracts that they're locked into for their point of sale system. So we're going to just choose restaurants that have a single location that are privately owned and are in the KC metro area. So if we hit update count, we see that the number is 7,442. We can then go into view results, and we can see some information about these companies. So this gives me a list of the name and address of the companies that fit that search. You'll also see that a lot of them have phone numbers. So right away, we could just use this list to reach out by phone number to introduce ourselves to these folks. Or if we wanted to stop by and do a sales call in person, we have their addresses now. So you can either use this list by looking at the website, or you can download it into a spreadsheet. So if you check the box in the upper left and then hit download, you can download all of these items into a spreadsheet or email them to yourself. So that is one way that you might use it. You can also look at a specific company. So let's say, for instance, the 503 Cafe in Mission, Kansas is one that we're interested in. We can click on their record and see some more information, like their number of employees, their location sales volume, estimated business expenditures on different categories, sales volume, employee size. And this is an unverified record, so it's not showing me as much information as some of the other ones would. And you can tell up at the top if it's a verified record or unverified record. So that would be one way of using ReferenceUSA to target a specific type of business. Another one we'll do is for a, let's say you have a trucking business and you're looking to work with manufacturers in the states that are surrounding Kansas and Missouri. You could do a search not in the keyword SIC NAICS category, but in the major industry group. So we'll go ahead and set our geography first. So we want to choose city-state this time. And instead of doing a metro area, we're going to choose the entire states of Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. We'll just keep it simple for now and do 4 states. And instead of going into keyword SIC NAICS this time, we're going to go into major industry group. And we are going to go into manufacturing. And we could check the box next to manufacturing, and that would do all of the different manufacturing industries. But we're going to be a little bit more specific and narrow that search down a little bit. So I'm going to click the plus button next to it. And then I'm going to go down and choose the ones that are specifically related to metal fabricated products. So let's say you have a specialty with those, shipping those, and you wanted to reach out to all the folks who do fabricated metal products. You can check that box next to that, or you can get even more specific and really nail down the type of product that you're looking for. But we'll just keep it simple like that. And then we want to go into update count again and see that our record is 3,865. If I do the unverified businesses, that bumps up almost double. So you can see that that in unverified businesses button makes a big difference. But let's say, since this number is so big already, you want to focus on the verified businesses first. So we'll leave that unverified businesses unchecked at this point and then go into view results. So again, you can reach out to any of these businesses by phone. You could also download these names into a spreadsheet using the process I showed you earlier. So you just go through, check the box in the upper left to select all of the records on that page. And you can go through and select 500 records at a time to download into a spreadsheet, which I won't do now, but I've got 100 selected now. And then I'm going to go to download, and this time I will choose a custom field select, and I'm just going to leave it pretty much as it is seen here. You may want to go onto a website like Vistaprint and see what their preferred formatting is for exporting or importing lists. So you can use this list that you're exporting to upload the names and addresses to a site like Vistaprint, where you could then send out a postcard mailer to these folks. advertising your service. Or, like I said, you may just want to reach out in person over the phone. So you have a few different options for how you could use these names. So that is our second search. So we showed you how to look up restaurants that are in the KC metro area that are single locations, privately owned. And that was an example for somebody who was selling a point of sale system. This example was for somebody who is a trucking company that typically works with manufacturers to ship fabricated metal products. So the last search that we're going to do that's going to be a business to business search is for a web design company. And we're going to get really specific. So rather than choosing the entire metro area this time, we're going to choose a specific city. And I'm going to go with Gladstone. So I'll type in that keyword and then select Gladstone, Missouri. And this time, since I'm a web design business and it doesn't really matter the type of business that I would serve, I just need to find businesses that have a web ad or a website, or maybe that don't have a website and might need one. I can go over to the business size. Let's say most of my clients are companies that have 10 or less employees. So I'm going to select only number of employees up to 9. And then I'm going to go down to the special selects and I'm going to choose the web address one. And I'm going to focus on only companies without a web address. If they don't have a web address, then that means that they may be in the market for someone to build a website for them. So I could search by just that criteria and I get 108 businesses. Another strategy that you might pursue if this were your business would be to focus on the companies with the web address and then go through and look at their website to see if maybe they could use some improvements, or if it's an outdated website. So right now we're looking at all the ones that have a website listed, so I can click on any one of these and it should have a link up at the top where I could then go and evaluate their website to see if they might be in the market for my services. So it looks like they have a pretty good website, so they're probably fine, and I might not want to reach out to these folks at this particular time because they look like they're in pretty good shape. So those are three of the ways you could, or three examples of ways you could target folks on the business side using ReferenceUSA. The next two examples we're going to do are going to be within the U.S. consumer/lifestyles section of ReferenceUSA, and this is obviously not for business-to-business marketing, but for business-to-consumer marketing. So for this one, it's a similar interface. You're going to typically go directly to advanced search, and then typically you're going to select your geography first. So for this one, we will start with folks who are in the, I'll start with a couple zip codes, so 64155 and 64154, and I want to find out who in these two zip codes have children present. So I'm going to select the box under Consumer Snapshot and select children present, and then I'm going to go to female occupation and I'm going to choose homemaker. So I'm focusing on stay-at-home mothers in these two zip codes who have children present, and my business is an indoor playground, so I'm trying to find folks who may be interested in taking their kids to the playground during the day in these two zip codes. So I could do update count and see that I get an email count of 67. So if I click this more info button, I can contact reference@infogroup.com and they will work with me to set up an email marketing campaign to send out to these folks. So they give you templates that you can use. They give you best practices for designing your subject line and what you put in the body of your email. And then they send the email for you. It looks like it comes from your business, but it's them who's sending it. And then anybody who opens that email, you can actually see their email address. But it's different from purchasing an email list because you don't actually see the full list of 67 emails. You only see the list of the folks who opened it. It is a service for a fee. The library doesn't benefit in any way from this service, but we do like to let our patrons know that it's available because a lot of folks don't have a way to reach out to do simple email marketing, and this is a pretty simple way of doing that. So just to be aware of the cost, it's 15 cents per email up to 5,000, and then 13 cents per email for 5,000 and above. We can help you with this process. I just wanted to make you aware. Usually 67 would be kind of a small number to send out an email to, so you might want to add some more zip codes to kind of bump that number up a little bit more. So we could, we could choose zip codes for all of this until we get to maybe, let's say, 200 emails or a little bit more realistic number for a good return on our investment there. So that is one way you can use the consumer side of this using the consumer snapshots. The other way is to, let me uncheck all of these, to use the lifestyles. So sometimes you don't necessarily care about the demographic information, the consumer snapshot criteria, and what you're interested more in is the lifestyle of the person, so the interests they have, their shopping behaviors, things like that. So let's say you're a nonprofit and you're wanting to target businesses in Kansas City, or not businesses, consumers in, we'll do Kansas City again. And this time we are interested in consumers who have contributed to a charity. Since we have a nonprofit, we're interested in looking for more donors. We'll go down to lifestyles and choose under charitable donor, people who have some kind of interest in donating. And a lot of folks ask me at this point, how do they know that these are my interests? And it's a good question. The database ReferenceUSA claims that they have 26 different sources of this information. A lot of it, from what I've read and learned from them, is through magazine subscriptions, credit card purchases, surveys that you might have filled out online. So they pulled this information from credible sources, and typically if you look yourself up, you can get kind of a sense for how much they know about you. It seems a little bit scary at first, but usually it's, things like you have an interest in photography or you have an interest in pets. So it's not something that's going to reveal a whole lot of really personal information about you. It's typically things that are, related to your interests and hobbies. So for this one, we're going to choose charitable donors, and we're going to go over to estimated home income, and we're going to focus on people who make 60,000 and above. So we'll check all the boxes that are 60,000 and above. And then I'll go to update count. And you see I have 3,356 emails that I could reach out to these folks with. So I could click this more info and then contact ReferenceUSA to set up an email marketing campaign. Or I can go into view results and actually see the names and addresses of these folks. Typically you would use this to download the names into a spreadsheet. So you'd go through again and select up to 500 records at one time and go to the download button and then choose Excel, detailed, or custom, and this would allow you to create a Excel spreadsheet with all the names and addresses of the folks that you want to target. And then you can go on to a website like Vistaprint, which I mentioned earlier, design a little postcard mailer, and they would normally charge you for those names if you didn't have them yourself from the library, so you can save a little bit of money on that mailer by downloading these into a spreadsheet. So this is something that I know is not super easy to do, and we can walk you through it. So we do one-on-ones with folks, and we're still doing those during the social isolation time. We're just doing them on Skype. So if you'd like help with sending out a mailer to folks who may have an interest that you're looking to target, let us know. And I've helped many folks set up these sort of email marketing or direct mail marketing campaigns for their business. So feel free to reach out. That's all I have for you in terms of examples from ReferenceUSA. I know this is not a super simple, easy process, and like I said, I'm here to help you through it. So feel free to reach out. If you have any questions, go ahead and post those into the comment section, and we will answer them as soon as the recording's over. And then we will also post a survey in the links. If you could please fill that out and let us know if this webinar was helpful for you. Again, we are here to help you, so feel free to reach out over Facebook, or you can always email us at square1@mymcpl.org. Hopefully this was useful to you, and I hope that you're doing well in this time of social distancing and social isolation, and you're able to help your business pivot to survive during this difficult time. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next week.